Imagine waiting 25 years for a killer to be caught. Now imagine 5 cases breaking open in the same year, decades of silence, families left in the dark, dead ends everywhere. Then suddenly, the walls crumble. DNA tools, shocking confessions, genetic genealogy, cold cases that haunted us for years, finally crack wide open. Today we dive into 5 of the most shocking breakthroughs of 2026. These aren't just solved. They rewrite everything we thought we knew. Lustraca DNA Lansuga, sure, Riskrovatsa. Plus Othram Lab logo gentle pulsing glow plus slow rotation 2026, the year cold cases cracked. Stay till the end, because the final twist will make you wonder, how many more are still waiting out there? Let's go. Back in September 1999, 17-year-old Victoria Hall vanishes after a night out in Felixstowe, Suffolk. Young, full of life, last seen leaving a nightclub. Her body found strangled in a field near Stowe Market. For over 26 years, her killer walks free. Case goes cold. No leads. No DNA match back then. Fast forward to February 2026. Everything changes. Steve Wright, the Suffolk Strangler, already serving a whole life term for 5 brutal murders in Ipswich back in 2006. Right before his trial at the Old Bailey, he changes his plea at the 11th hour. He pleads guilty to kidnapping and murdering Victoria Hall. He even confesses to trying to abduct another woman, Emily Doherty, just the day before Victoria disappeared. The courtroom freezes. Audible gasps everywhere. Why now? After denying it for so long? Experts like Professor Samantha Lundgren, who studied over 300 serial killers, point out it's highly unlikely for someone like Wright to suddenly start offending in his 40s. His spree almost certainly began earlier. New DNA traces finally caught up with technology that wasn't available back then. But others wonder, is it guilt? Or is he hiding more victims? His own half-brother, Keith Wright, spoke out right after the confession. It's time he did the right thing and told the police everything. How many more victims are there? I'd like to say that this is it, but I'm not convinced anymore. Keith even said Wright moved in with him just months after Victoria was killed. Investigators now think his dark history stretches back further. Serial killer experts say, it's rare for someone like Wright to begin so late. So, are there others? Victoria's family gets justice at last, but as her brother Stephen Hall said in court, sentencing doesn't bring her back. The pain, it lingers. Yet now, they finally know who took her. Switching gears from a serial killer's long-denied confession to something even more heartbreaking. Families who waited decades just to learn a name. No crime, just forgotten souls lost to storms and time. September 2017. Hurricane Irma slams Florida. In the chaos, in Big Pine Key, recovery teams find human remains in a life jacket. No name, no ID, just John Doe. For 9 years, he stays unknown. His family, somewhere, gets no closure. Then, January 2026, everything changes. Florida Department of Law Enforcement teams up with Othram, the forensic genealogy masters who've cracked hundreds of cases nationwide. Advanced DNA analysis. They build a family tree from distant relatives in public databases. Boom, a match. The remains belong to 77-year-old James Donald Schlake, Key Largo resident, born 1940, missing during the storm. Imagine waiting 9 years to bury your loved one properly. This shows how powerful genetic genealogy has become, even for non-crimes. Names return to the forgotten. And right alongside Schlake, another breakthrough in the Florida Keys that same month. Igor Kolomaitz, 52 years old, from Big Pine Key. His body found back in April 2014, inside a unit at Breezy Pines RV Estates. Cause of death undetermined. Immigration record mix-ups made it impossible to notify family. He stayed unidentified for over a decade. But in early 2026, forensic genealogy cracks it again. Combined with fingerprint checks from FBI and Border Patrol, plus his old Florida driver's license photo, they confirm it's him. Two nameless men from the same storm-ravaged area get names back in the same month. 2026 is turning into the year the forgotten finally get remembered. But how many more John and Jane Does are still out there, waiting for that one breakthrough? This next one hits harder. Personal. Tragic. February 1994. Morningside Heights, New York City. 57-year-old Sarah Roberts, who suffered from emphysema, and her 26-year-old daughter Sharon, who lived with developmental disabilities, are found strangled in their apartment. A brutal double murder. No obvious motive. Case goes ice cold. For nearly 32 years, no arrests. Families wait in agony. Then, January 2026. Larry Atkinson, 67 years old, an ex-con, gets sentenced to 40 years to life. DNA links him through his connection as the boyfriend of the victim's home attendant. He strangled them both. At sentencing, the judge ripped into him, calling out the horror of targeting two of society's most vulnerable, a mother fighting for breath, a daughter who needed care and protection. Atkinson, wheelchair-bound and ailing, whined that he'll die in prison, claiming he only has 2 years left due to health issues. The judge wasn't having it. He showed zero real remorse until that very day. After 3 decades, closure at last. But the pain, it never fully fades. Sometimes the truth hides in the people closest to the victims. Wrapping up with 2 more from 2026, each one a reminder of how far technology has come. First, Pamela Ferreira, December 1994, Prunedale, California. Partial remains of a newborn baby boy found stuffed in a grocery bag off Guerin Road, known as Baby Guerin. Born alive, but left without food for approximately 24 hours. Case cold for nearly 30 years. No leads. But in 2024, DNA from the remains identifies the mother, Pamela Ferreira, now 61, of Watsonville. She hid the pregnancy from everyone, including her husband and children, delivered at home, dressed the baby, drove him to a remote spot, abandoned him in that bag, and never checked back. February 2026, she's sentenced to 13 years and 4 months for voluntary manslaughter and felony child abuse, plus a great bodily injury enhancement. A cold case finally gets justice, but for that tiny life, it's heartbreaking beyond words. And last, Bruce Joel Andrews, born December 16, 1948. He went missing while fishing at the Westport Jetty, Grays Harbor County, Washington, on July 30, 1974, just 25 years old. Decades pass. Then, in 1995, skeletal remains wash up on an Ocean Shores beach, a jawbone found by a family, but no ID, until January 2026. Forensic genetic genealogy, through labs like Othram, matches the DNA. Positive ID, Bruce Joel Andrews. After over 50 years, his family gets answers. A missing person, finally named. 2026, already a landmark year. Shocking confessions like Steve Wright's, at the last possible moment. Silent IDs through DNA like Schlake, Colomites, and Andrews. Technology rewriting history. And here's the part that keeps investigators, and all of us, awake at night. In 2026 alone, Othram and similar labs cracked dozens more cases, not just these 5. Experts estimate thousands of unidentified remains and unsolved murders could fall in the coming years thanks to genetic genealogy. The final twist? Steve Wright's own brother Keith recently said publicly he's convinced this is just the tip of the iceberg, and that there are likely more victims from the 90s waiting to be linked. So, How many more killers are still out there, walking free while DNA closes in? Which of these hit you hardest? Victoria's long wait and the chilling possibility of more victims? The forgotten in Florida? The family tragedies in New York? Or the heartbreaking newborn case? Drop it in the comments right now. Tell me which cold case to cover next. I read every one, and I might pick yours for the upcoming video. Share this with friends who love unsolved mysteries. The more eyes on these cases, the closer we get to the truth. Thanks for sticking with me all the way through. This is Rulik Enigmas signing off. Catch you in the next mystery.